Hi, everyone. Welcome to Leading with Empathy and Allyship. This is a live event and podcast series. I'm your host, Melinda Briana Epler, the founder and CEO of Change Catalyst. At Change Catalyst, we build inclusive innovation through training, consulting, and events. In this series, we work to go deep and get real. We build empathy for historically underrepresented people and provide tangible, actionable steps that we can all take to be better allies and better advocates for each other. So today we're discussing hiring veterans. Today we're discussing hiring veterans to drive innovation with Jerome Hardaway, Executive Director of Vets Who Go. Hey.
Hey, for the record, everybody, I'm like 33, so I hate being called executive director because most of my peers are like double my age. So geek at arms is like perfectly fine. I don't.
Awesome. I love it.
Okay, I just want to let everybody know. It's weird being called executive director at this age.
Awesome. I'm just going to do a few logistical notes, and then we'll get started and dive in. So, on screen, we have an ASL interpreter, Kalina, and the ASL interpretation is sponsored by Interpreter now. We also have live captioning by Maggie at White Coat Captioning. If you want to turn that on, just go to the bottom of your Zoom screen, click on closed captioning, and you can also adjust the size of the text there. Our team, Renzo, Sally, and Antonia, are working behind the scenes, and among other things, they're monitoring the chat. But generally, the chat has been amazing. Please continue to share your aha moments, to introduce yourself, to share anything that you're learning, and then use the Q&A function for any questions that you have for us, and we'll get to those. We should have quite a bit of time at the end to address those. Cool. All right. So let's dive in. So Jerome,
Sure.
first, how are you?
I am pretty good right now. Like I'm a little tired, a little wired. Other than that, I'm ready to go.
Tired and wired. Cool. Oh, it's like that's 2020 right there.
Yeah. Well, see, I don't be like. Have you ever? I'm a comic book nerd, right? You know this. Like that's why they call me Captain America of the Web. But I look at I'm treating 2020 like with the ideal, the thought process of like one bad day, like that story for Batman arc. Like it was Joker's idea that all he had to do to break the bat was give him one bad day and he would go to the dark side. And like that's kind of what they like with the whole Two-Face storyline in the Batman series with Christopher Nolan. Um, but I look at it like that. So instead of focusing on all the craziness that is going on, I'm acknowledging the craziness, doing my part to mitigate it, but also like shifting my targets to my goals to continue dominating in 2020. Like that's the
Yes.
process I've been taking. So it's been it's been for the most part 2020 has been okay. Like I've had some pretty big milestones, like career wise, family wise, like veteran wise. Like we've been doing crazy things. So I'm still like happy. It's awesome.
Awesome. Awesome. Cool. Well, do you want to start by telling us a bit about your story? It'd be great to know how you got to where you are today. What really led you to doing this work?
Roger that. Started, I guess, 7 years ago. I'm kidding. It started 2010. Left the military. Came into the thinking I was going because I had a DD 214, which is the paper that says you successfully finished the military, you have an honorable discharge, you finish your term, here you go. I treated it like it was going to be Willy Wonka's, the golden ticket to like an awesome life on the outside. Well, what was happening on the outside that I was not paying attention to because I was in my 20s and I'm 20-year-olds don't really pay attention to everything because we think we're superheroes. Was the Great Recession. And during the Great Recession, I was getting that one of the most painful experiences I've ever was getting was like, thank you for your service, but you're not qualified to work here. And I was getting that left and right. And it was so demoralizing that, I didn't know what to do. I happened to see a random commercial on Facebook. No, it's a video on Facebook that was talking about coding. And I was like, I can do that. And I picked up a book on SQL and learned how to code well enough to get a job as a data analyst or do databases well enough to get a job as a database analyst with the Department of Homeland Security for their certified TWIC agent position. Afterwards, moved to Memphis, took a digital marketing position, and did that for about 2 years. And I was always learning and tinkering with code from that position, even though like basically that's what it was. It was a web developer position, because even though it said digital marketing, because when you're 20, what happens is when you're in your 20s, what happens is like all the older people, they're like, yo, you're young, fix the website, right? Classic move in any nonprofit. So I'm fixing the website, doing all these things. And we had a veteran back then who ended up being gunned down due to police brutality, and there was no one around to help his family. It just, his daughter had just turned 1. They were trying to get money to bury him, give him proper funeral, things of that nature. VA wasn't stepping in at all to help, and because VA wasn't stepping in, the local veteran nonprofits weren't stepping in. So I get this call from a friend of mine who, she was at a local veteran services organization, and she was like, yo, can you help us like help this family? And I was like, I'm just one person. She's like, yes, if there's anyone who can do something, it's you. So I spin up a website, use the things I learned from marketing classes and certifications to tell the story as well as I can, and use the things I learned and taught myself for like LAMP stack, which I hate like with a passion, by the way. Like I learned PHP, hate PHP. That'd be my favorite thing. We never get along. And I spun up this website, and it was nice. I was very proud of myself. Like, in retrospect, now that I've been in the game for a minute, it was garbage. But back then, like, it was the bee's knees. And I helped this family by raising $10,000 in 27 hours, and I gave it to this family. Then after that, like I was gonna be like, all right, guys, I'm out. Like Kanye, I just dropped like a hot album. I'm gonna go somewhere and chill now. They were like, no, you have to do more. And so I was like, well, what do I do? And I was like, well, coding helped me. Maybe it helps other people. So I was like, all right, cool, we'll see it. So I started VWC, and I just started trying to help people as much as I like could. My first year, I helped 50 veterans get jobs in tech. I trained them, and at that time, it was JavaScript and Ruby. Well, a little JavaScript, but it's mostly jQuery and Ruby on Rails. Helped them get jobs. 50 veterans in a year, raised maybe $3,000 that year. So and it got the attention of the White House. I was invited to the White House to speak on then Barack Obama's birthday, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's cool. Sure, I'll take this." And then they did the Tech Hire Initiative, and they started from there. I came back home, started helping more veterans. Today, I've met 252 veterans officially as of 2 weeks ago. We're at $17.8 million put in the US economy, and like through salaries, right? So like this is like our veterans are coming in from anywhere from officers to low-ranking junior enlisted troops, like never seen 25,000, like making $25,000 a year, to 16 weeks with us, coming out making 70, 80, and they're not being charged for their GI Bill. They're not being charged. We don't accept GI Bill. We don't do anything in GI Bill. It's 100% free for veterans. I love what I do, so I move faster than the government, so I don't really work with the government on that, because tech and government moves at 2 different speeds, right? Like if you've been in tech and you work with the government, you know that government can't catch up. So it was just easier. And like for the, and I still think I am like under, since the day I started, $50,000, right? And raising for donors and donations and stuff. 100% donor led, 100% remote, 252 veterans in 37 states. Went from jQuery to Rails to meme stack to MERN stack to Jam stack, which is because, and like our Jam stack is so, our current jams. First one, I'm sorry, I don't know if people know these lingos, these terms, stuff like that. Stacks are the grouping of technologies you are using to build things. Whereas, so when I say these, like when I Jamstack means JavaScript APIs markup. Markup is like the structure of a website. Like think of it like the bones of the human body, where APIs would be like the nervous system, right? It carries the data, right? Whereas JavaScript is the muscle, right? So it's the nerve. So basically, that's how we break that down. It's 100% serverless, meaning there's no databases that we teach them. We teach them Amazon Web Services. We teach them automated practices so they can do CI/CD. I'm sorry, another acronym. I'm trying to not use acronyms for the benefit of this conversation because I don't even know like how to describe CI/CD for ASL and ASL. So I don't want to make her job too hard. But these are like automated build tool programs and paradigms. So we educate the veterans in that for free twice a year. I think this year is going to be, from what we're seeing this year, we're going to have some very big classes coming up because people are at home, people are wanting to reskill, and they're looking. And just like when I was coming back out, when I was coming out into the civilian sector, they're looking around and they're seeing that it's the software engineers who are chilling. That's one thing that we've been like. So yeah, that's what we do in a nutshell.
Awesome.
16 week takes us about 16 weeks to do that. So
And what did you do in the service?
I was security forces, so I want to make sure people don't, like, I was not some dude out here like behind a computer doing intelligence. No, I wore an M4 and M9 every day of the week. I was Phoenix Raven while in there, I got the opportunity to literally fly, fight, win. I've been to Brazil. I've gone to like some other cool places that aren't always disclosed. I've been to Camp Buka, Iraq. Been to South Korea. Been to Afghanistan. I've been everywhere. I've been done some prison work in Camp Buka. I've also did outside the wire work in Iraq. Like on patrols. I've done everything when it comes to like the unfun stuff in the military. Like I'm Air Force. I'm a grunt with hazard duty pay, essentially. Yeah, so that's why I feel like why I guess I'm the best person to lead or programs like this because I don't come from tech. So if I don't come from tech and I'm from under the dual underrepresented community in technology, I can help push anyone into the sector, right? So.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. For those who don't know, there's several studies out there. There's a LinkedIn report that came out last year, I think, that that cites some interesting data around veterans in the workforce, that the 80% of veterans come out of the service and don't have a job lined up. And also 33% of veterans are underemployed, which means that they're often working below their experience level. They might be working 2 jobs to make ends meet when they come out, and 70% are more likely to take a step back in seniority when they join the workforce. So, and that's a LinkedIn is quoting a study by the Call of Duty Endowment and ZipRecruiter. So, Jerome, what are some of the unique experiences and skills that veterans bring to innovation? Like, how do we rethink that gap and share some of the skills that are learned in the military that translate into the tech industry or into any industry?
Critical thinking under pressure. I think the biggest issue, particularly when I'm seeing when it comes to junior enlisted troops, is that people assume that you just do what you're told. No, in the military, in today's military, everyone is a leader at every level. So having said that, everybody has the critical thinking to be able to solve problems that they're trained in that. They're taught to, be a leader, solve the problem on your own. Then if you can't solve the problem, go to the next level in your chain of command for help for that. So, that's easy. That's easy to translate skill anywhere, right? Also, the intestinal fortitude to be able to stick to things and learn new things, right? Because I try to tell people like coding is hard. Like it's real cool to see that paycheck, but this is hard work, right? This is learning it is hard. And I have seen people who have every resource given to them possible not be able to come out on the other side of programming. And I've seen people who have nothing but a library, access to computer to library, and being able to code from like Replit, uh, be able to like get good enough to get jobs. So, and that's what veterans bring to the table.
Awesome, awesome. And what are some of the things that I know that there's a lot of people that listen to the podcast and that join our live events that are interested in creating change in the workplace. So what are some of the things that they can do to build a more inclusive work culture for veterans? And actually, let me ask this other question first. What should they be thinking about when they're hiring veterans? What should they be thinking about as they're kind of looking at recruiting?
When I look at recruiting, the biggest issue that comes to military recruiting is that, especially in tech, is that they are looking at recruiting the same scope that they look at with everything in tech. They're going to people who already have degrees, right? And saying, the military recruiting on the officer side is lit, right? It's like A1. But I'm sorry, like I said, I'm a Southerner and I'm like 30, so I use words like lit in like natural conversation. So like that's done. That's A1. But when it comes to the enlisted side, enlisted is highly broke. Is go to college, get a GI Bill. But we already know that education and collegiate education does not represent like a person's aptitude and ability, right?
Mhm.
So why do recruiters, particularly for military people who've already have proven themselves or have the capacity or the chance to prove themselves, decide that, what, we're going to keep this like, oh, you don't have a college degree, here we go, a gatekeeping strategy. So strike one, get rid of that. Two, bring back apprenticeships. Like that just helps across the board, not just for veterans, but all to make an inclusive workforce for everyone, right? Apprenticeships like help people who you might not think can do it, learn how to do it, and get better at it. So I think that's something that, as an entire industry, we really need to focus on, is bringing back apprenticeships across the board, whether it's minorities, women, veterans, whatever. Apprenticeships is where things should be done. Actually what I like to do, call it in boots on the ground. I think my success is particularly like, I laugh when I see like what the VA and like for-profit code schools are doing with their millions of dollars and some of the numbers. I'm like, if I had that, I would blow them all out the water. It's because my secret is boots on the ground. I am the product, right? I am a person who was enlisted. I am a person that learned how to code to learn how to code in spite of adversity to get a job. I am a person who's working in this industry at real time. And you don't see that when you go to most for-profit coding programs. Like it's either like a third party that's making a curriculum and got a programmer who might not even have a modern tech experience, brought them in to teach it, or it's recent grads, or it's all types of weirdness. Whereas with VWC, everybody who's teaching or talking to you is either currently I take it back. Everybody who's teaching and talking is currently working full time as a software engineer. We don't let anyone talk to students about coding that don't have a job in programming. Like that's just how I feel. If you're going to a battlefield and you want to lead me into a battle, I need you to have more experience than me. And be constantly leveling up your experience. And that's one of the things like that we bring to the table. Like when we're talking about, this ASL for a great example, right? It's easy when we're talking about web accessibility from the point of view of watching a video on web accessibility. It's a total different experience when we're talking about web accessibility from my point of view of actually working on companies of $10 million of assets and having to fix all their web accessibility issues within a year because they just got hit with a $150 million lawsuit because their website isn't accessible. 2019, 2020, the biggest lawsuit push of the year was about of the years were on web accessibility. Started with Papa John's and matriculated on down. That is a different type of lesson versus being able to, talk about it because you watched a video or you went through a training session, right? Like that boots on the ground experience that counts. And that's what, that's what we bring to it. Like, it's like, if you're ever in our Slack channels, it's so amazing. It's on fire. Like veterans literally training veterans in real time and talking about things that they've experienced at work. Like our FANG prep, for those of you who know, FANG is Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google acronym. Our FANG prep channel is the only non JavaScript channel we have. And like it's just seeing people like talk about it and break the problems down based upon real issues. For instance, we were talking about big O notation and how useless it is to learn it at a junior level. But when you're a FANG job, it matters because you're thinking in correlation to like how nodes communicate with each other in regards to speed, like for the user, as in when you're typing in something at Amazon and you need the right thing to pop up within 3 seconds, because we know that user experience is less than 3 seconds. The user wants to have a good experience, they want it fast, right? So this is where big O notation comes into play. And when traversing nodes across like databases and categories, like you would do in Netflix, if you were to start typing typing like in the word, but it wants this for a different category that you're not currently in on Netflix. Let's say, because my wife, right, I'm a big zombie fan, and she's a big anime fan. So if I'm typing something that, like, if I'm typing in a word on my account, right, the categories is automatically going to go towards zombie movies, right? Because it knows, the data is there. I like zombie movies. It's 2 A's. It's FANG, it's Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google. I'm waiting for them to put Microsoft in there. I don't know how they're going to do that. And like that's how like that stuff's done. And I was just in there and I was watching them break it down to other veterans who were looking to go get FANG jobs in a manner that made sense, that was real world. And I was like, yo, this is where it's at. Like this is what it is. Like, when I say like I've raised less than $50,000 and I have like 10 veterans in FANG jobs now, and they're pouring back into other veterans who currently have jobs who want to go for FANG jobs. Like that's it's insane. Like I tell, because I've always I come from Memphis, so I always had like a frugal state of mind, and I was always future focused. Like I knew that remote technologies was going to be the way to go, especially in the nonprofit sector, because in the end, I felt like financial impact matters. So, and a lot of nonprofit stuff when I was like starting, well, no, Tesla is a different kind of animal. Like when you think about that, you think about the things that they look for in an interview versus we can get into the conversation of like machine learning and all that other stuff all day, but I don't want to bore you guys to death today. So like just to see all that stuff is just amazing. It's really breathtaking. I love it. It's the best thing to ever witness. Like
nice. So you've worked in tech, and you also have
currently work in tech. I have a full-time job. I went from a software engineer at CBS to a developer advocate for Quicken Loans. I have been coding every day and like making money to code every day since 2013. So like
nice.
I'm like as they would say in the what was it, the hair care, like what's the guy who like the hair club for men? I'm not only the president, I'm a client. Like that's how it is. Like
Oh, no.
only like I'm not like I don't just talk about it, I be about it, right?
Nice.
So like that is like my, like I said, that's
Mhm.
the BWC secret sauce and superpower. Like we are our industry. We're
Mhm.
veterans and we're developers, like, and that's what makes us everybody's a developer. Everybody's doing something. Everybody you're gonna interact with in the VWC Slack channel, everybody codes, right? Like, and
Yeah.
that's what I wanted. I don't know. It's like how the Marines, like everybody's an infantry in the Marines. That's a code. Everybody's a coder. Like, and I'm very like, no, everybody's a coder. You're in here, you're coding. Oh, you don't really care about UX? You still gonna learn how to code. I don't care. You don't have, there are things you won't have to worry about, but you need to be able to learn how to code, if nothing else, to be able to speak about code, about programming to other
Mhm.
developers, right?
Yeah.
So
Given your experience, and then also having worked with 250 plus other veterans, and seeing how they are navigating tech, what are some of the things that could make workplace culture more inclusive for veterans?
stigmas, get rid of all the stigmas. I think people spend too much time on TV and Netflix. Guilty. Netflix is
Mm.
my poison of choice. Um, but they don't
What is,
understand
yeah.
that, like, with those like ideals of what post-traumatic stress is and things of that nature, they're literally using those stigmas against people that just aren't true. Like, the number one issue that comes the most with post-traumatic stress usually is isolation. It's not violence, right?
Mm.
So when I see people talk about, well, if we bring him in, will he come in and like do all this other stuff? I'm like, no. What are you talking about? Like, you've seen too many Hurt Locker episodes. I'm gonna need you to go have a seat in the corner and let the adults talk. Thank you very much. Or what else have I? What other silly thing has someone said? Or can I? 2014, in a room full of like old guys, and they were like talking about they were in a nonprofit for a VSO, for a veteran services organization. They were like, can veterans even code? Mind you, I'm a veteran who can code, in the room talking about veterans learn how to code. And like, can veterans learn how to code? And I'm like, am I here? Am I in this room? Like, you know what? I'm in the wrong room. Let me just go ahead and get my stuff and go on somewhere. It's these ideals that people have that are preconceived because they don't know veterans. The average
Mm.
civilian is 8 light degrees of separation between them and a veteran. So you just don't know enough veterans. Like you and I, like we're 1 degree, like, or two, right? I met Wayne. Wayne introduced me to you. Like that's 2 degrees, right? The average person, they're like, oh, this is my coworkers, nieces, brothers, girlfriends, like younger, like girlfriend's cousins, like boyfriend, and he was in the Marine Corps or something like that, right? So that is the number one, like people don't know. So they turn around and they go off of what they see on TV, right? Or what we are. And it's like, no, we're just like you guys. Like we just like,
Mm.
a matter of fact, I think we're, when it comes to programming, it's a little bit better, like because we don't have egos when it comes to coding, because we really don't, like we don't have, like we don't care, we did cool stuff already. Like, so I have a more compassionate style of coding because my like my ego on being like the smartest person in the room, like I don't really care about that. Like I like did like some of the coolest thing. Like I have blown up buildings and stuff. Like it's without people in them. Like there's some training. Let me like clear it up because I don't want to scare nobody. But I've used like some of the coolest things. Like I've jumped out of an airplane. Like I literally, for my my end of the year test, I got 100% end of year test, and they let me like go for 3 months and train with the flying tigers. So I was in Korea. They let me, and I was able to like do my jump. I'm like I've never nobody's ever been able to do that. Like I was like able to like be attached and be a liaison with like the Korean jump forces. Like and I'm not Army, I'm Air Force, and I'm never gonna need this skill. But because I got 100%, my commander hooked me up on that. You can't like I don't care about how like fancy and clever my code is after that. Like who
Mhm.
cares? Like I care about the readability and like the ability to pass it on. Like I live and die by the ideal that we build products for users and we write code for each other. And as a veteran, I care about the person in the left, right is going to come after me. And so I build my products, I write my code with the idea of readability, of legibility, of ease of use, of understanding. I'm very heavy on documenting and markdown. I'm compassionate because I believe in proper changeover. Because I'm a programmer and I was in military and military changeover. If you didn't do your changeover shift right, everybody be stuck at the squadron for like another 2 hours till everything got squared away, or bag drags, or someone didn't do changeover properly and lost like a gas mask or something, and now you're like field stripping, walking in a straight line through a field looking for a gas mask. I've done all that stuff, so it's grilled into me to make sure that everybody's squared away. And in the end, programming is social, so our one team, one fight mentality like just shines through when you put us on there, because I'm all of, like I said, we're all about making sure everybody wins. Because in the end, like, and when I was overseas, it's about everybody needs to get home. Like it's not about my mission is to do my part of the mission and make sure you get home to your husband, your wife, your dog, your cat, like your goldfish. That's my mission, right? That's my primary directive, and I bring that same like fire to programming. I don't believe in like leaving people behind. I don't believe that no one can learn how to code. I believe that sometimes people need different approaches. Sometimes you just have to, find that psychological like tick that makes people get it. Some people learn front to back, some people learn back to front, some people need pictures, some people are videos, some people are bloggers, like, they need more mentorship. I am all about that. So that's what I focus on. Like that's how I do it.
Awesome. I'm going to just ask one or two more questions. So if anybody has questions for Jerome, put it in the Q&A box. I see a couple coming in.
Ask
So
questions. I'm good.
yeah. So in this moment right now, as an African-American man, veteran in Nashville, does allyship look like for you? What do you really
For
want?
me, as a veteran and African American
Yeah.
person, well, first and foremost, I have to understand my own privilege that I bring to the game now, right?
Mm.
I am the I am the head geek of a successful organization and a combat veteran who, you know, doesn't his my financial needs aren't tied to my local community, right? So I have all these advantages that I can be honest and say when it comes to the higher level of allyship locally, I haven't really used or espoused, right? Because in the ideal, like I have the ability to create, you know, an increased level of change by holding people who usually aren't held to the standard to um, hold them accountable. And I've recently just been doing that. I had a very open conversation with a CEO here. Well, I've done it twice so far when I've called out CEOs that are in the local Nashville community who no one tells them that their shit stinks because they have money. Oh, you're a millionaire. Of course, I'm not going to tell you that you're a garbage human being. I'm like, no, you can be both. It's like you can be both. Like you can be rich and be garbage. Like we see it all the time. So I'm gonna let you know you're when it comes to inclusion, when it comes to doing the right thing, you are failing. We had to fix it. We had one CEO who thought that everything was going to be okay, and he jumped on a Zoom. And I think, and that's part of the when it comes to, that's part of the allyship, right? When they see me, they see a Black person, they see someone that doesn't, that that they can ignore. But when he got on the Zoom, and it happened to be during lunch for my veterans, and he saw all of these young like white males and these women and all these people who are asking him these tough questions. It came to the realization like, yo, I am not, when I mistreat him, I'm like mistreating a battalion of people who I did not think were like around. Like I totally overstepped my brief. And it was, I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed it a little bit. There's nothing like watching a tech CEO sweat being asked questions from like 30 veterans. Like I laughed a little, I giggled. Yes, they are saying that putting their money in their mouth. We're starting meetings so that I'm also working with the Amazons coming in. I'm starting to work with their people because they saw, like, they watched the whole thing in real time because, boy, like, I am a very smart individual, but I'm also from Memphis. And you got to remember that. So like, I'm like a quarter ounce gangster. So they had that. Amazon reached out. They're like, yo, anything we can help help do your part to make Nashville more inclusive, hit me up. And a guy at Eventbrite hit, and we're doing this whole conversation. We're like, yo, I think this might be the beginning of like the Avengers. We're gonna like, I'm gonna do my own little Avengers span. Yeah, Shamika, that's like I said, I am like, and that's part of inclusion, right? Bringing your whole self to work. I want to make sure that no, just because I don't speak like some dude in Connecticut, like don't mean that I can't do the job, right? Like, this is not this is not coding. This is me being a human being. This is my life experiences, and you're not going to do erasure of who I am as a person so that I can pattern match what you think a successful person should look, sound, act, and behave. So that's part of the things that I do. I act as I am. Veteran is a title I earn. African American is what I was literally born. Like I'm gonna be Black regardless, so I have to show up as a Black man doing the work with veterans because I am a veteran, and I have to make sure that they're doing the work like that as well for African Americans, veterans, and women. So like that's what I've been stepping into my privilege of sorts lately, and ensuring that work's done. What allyship looks to me is not. I'm not at the point where I think about allyship for me as a worker anymore. I look at a point from a point of my own like flaws of allyship. Like, am I doing what I could be doing? Like, I created this rock star nonprofit with no resources coming from, I don't come from a rich family. I'm just, a Black kid from South Memphis who went in the military, came back home, couldn't get a job. And now, I'm running around meeting presidents and president billionaires, like, and having my veterans kick ass and take names in big tech companies. So that helps me, like, realize that I've done some pretty cool things. So it's time for me to like step up and do more.
Nice.
Have the Chris Christie. Hey, what's up, Chris? That's a unfair question because Chris is on my board. Like he's being a hater right now. Chris, have the restrictions associated with the pandemic validated your remote training format? Has given video seeing your veteran online an advantage? Do you see a new normal or for more technical workforce being remote in the future? We had this conversation 2 years ago. Yes, this is the new normal. Like people are realizing that. I mean, it wasn't a problem of could we do the work like this? It was a problem that antiquated managers didn't want to do the work like this. Like what COVID started, like it's really easy to put everybody back home, let them do the work, right? Like productivity is up, down was up, and everybody's still doing great things. It's validated. It's very funny because I was talking about this type of stuff about remote training and like being live and doing all this crazy stuff in 2014, and people were going to be crazy. And here we are in 2020, and like I never forget when the pandemic hit, all these code schools were shutting down and trying to figure out how to hurry up, get on remote and do all this stuff. And I was like, well, it's Tuesday. I don't know. What am I supposed to do? Well, we already do all this stuff. So whatever, our systems were like already down pat. So it's been giving our veterans an advantage because, they already live this stuff, right? They already know to show up for Zoom. They already know how to answer the Slack channel. They already know to, if they do something, they help somebody and it's really cool, we're going to use our Hey Taco. If you have Slack at your company, Hey Taco, great thing to pay for. It's a plugin that helps you award people and like recognize good work. We do it all the time. It's like because veterans only care about coffee and tacos, right? Like, yeah, straight up, veterans love tacos. Ask any veterans like in the chat that don't like see, they're like, yes, that's true. Like, nah, we love tacos. Yeah, like sign me up, bro. So like that is like what that's what we do. Like we already had this really inclusive remote first organization, and I can't take 100% credit for it. My inspiration, like I said, I was professionally, my first web developer job was Ruby. So I was a Rubyist first, and DHH, I always call him by his initials because I can't remember his name in my life. He actually mentored me in a little bit of this stuff. He's the CTO of Basecamp and the creator of Ruby on Rails. And it was his ideals and his methodologies of like being remote first and how you don't need to do this and hire when it hurts and just all these processes. So like, that could work in the nonprofit space if you really wanted it to. And like I was doing this in 2014 and people were like, that is crazy. Where are you going to get your donors and buildings and stuff? And now everybody's like, you know what? Now we need to think about it. Like we're doing this, we're doing the Vets Who Code demo day on Friday, November 6th. And I have so many things planned. Like I am loving the idea of COVID because I now get to use this conference to push what I think the web should be, especially on the UI and the front end. Because I'm gonna I feel like as a programmer, we're having this blessed opportunity to not just think about speed of the user, but also now think about the experience deeper and layer it with animations and like the idea of captivating the audience. And I'm excited. Like they've already been like, Jerome, chill. Like we can't keep up with you. Like I'm doing like 100 Jira board tickets a day, and like that's another thing. Like I said, we train them how they fight, how we work, right? So they know Kanban, they get pulling tickets down all the time, and like they got to outwork me, right? And I'm the first Avenger, so no one's gonna outwork me, right? I'm Captain America of the web. You're gonna have to, you're gonna have to put in real work for that, right? So like it's just like I'm excited, firing on all cylinders. Troops love it. I love it. That's it.
Nice.
Shamika Black. What are veteran concerns about inclusivity once in the workplace? Being accepted as their whole selves, I think, is the number one. I don't know. Jira is like the number one tool for companies, right? So we got to use what the industry uses, fam. Never heard of that. But I'll look into it. I'll give you a chance, Javier. I give it. I'm not saying it's not cool. I'm saying I got to go where the industry goes. That's my job as the executive director, is to make sure I am training them for what the industry is doing, right? That's my job, right? Boom.
Anything else around inclusivity, Shamika's question?
Veterans exclusivity also workplace, being able to be their whole selves. Like you want to make sure that you can be your whole self at work, whether it's talking about especially in tech. Tech is very left leaning to the point where sometimes just being a veteran can be weird. Like I'm liberal, but I also understand about firearms, but I'm also on a lot of those. I'm like, hey, no, I am with you 100%. We need stricter gun laws. Like I tell people, the scariest moment of my life is literally buying my first firearm as a civilian, because I'm sitting here thinking that they're going to do my background check. I'll be either buy the ammo today or buy the firearm today, or it's going to be like 7 days or stuff. And I was in and out, maybe because I'm in Tennessee, and Tennessee is like a joke when it comes to this shit. But I was in and out like 30 minutes. I was like, that's terrifying. No one should be able to buy a handgun within their lunch break, right? So like these are the things that I want to change. But then I also like, yeah, I still go to the range, but I'm like, wait, pause. And they're like, oh no, you're horrible. You go to the range. I'm like, I have like 6 years of training in like with exclusively with firearms. Like I know this stuff. So that is their big figure. Uh, True. Take time to learn and celebrate others. Yeah. Acceptance, right? So Javier, is that how I say it? Javier, can you give me a thumbs up so I can make sure I'm not messing up your name? Awesome. Yes, winning. How has it been like for you as a Black American veteran navigating your transition into tech? It's weird being Black and being a veteran, because people think you have to choose one or the other. And I'm like, how can I choose one or the other when I am both every day? Like, you can't take, the experiences from the uniform away from me, and you can't take the experiences from being Black away from me either. So why do I have to pick a struggle? Like, I deal with both those struggles. So it's weird. Like, it's very funny. Like, it's like, like I said, I was in combat. I was in a combat career field. I was in combat arms. I write JavaScript. I like all the things about UIs and color. I like full stack development. And people are like, how can you be this multifaceted? I'm like, y'all don't ask white dudes that, do you? Like, I'm like, no. So treat me like a normal person. Like, if everybody treated everybody like white guy, like America treats white guys, everybody be happy. Like, that's how it is. So pick a struggle. Yes, Shamika, like, yes, pick a struggle. Do you work with other organizations teaching? No, we do not work with either one of those organizations. Code Platoon, well, Operation Code, I feel like, if I'm being 100% candid and honest with you, I feel like they're a part of the problem, because they helped code schools get access to the GI Bill. And as such, they help flood what I find is, frankly, subpar programs with government funding. Code Platoon, we just don't do their stack, and we move faster than them. So there's no need for us. I mean, if we're doing the teaching, the job placement, and we can be anywhere and everywhere because we're remote, there's really no need to work with other veteran organizations. I mean, especially, it's like I say, I come from the fight game. I'm the top talent. So if they wanted to work and they wanted to do it right, they would come to me, right? Versus me actively going after them, right, Kelly? So, and also, is your program available to military spouses? Uh, yes, that is definitely, yes. We have spouses come through. One of our instructors is a spouse. He's moving to uh, the media side of EWC after this cohort, but he's finishing up teaching the next 2 weeks, and after that, he'll go on the media side. Do synergies match if we were to work together? No. I thought that initially when when I was young, it's like, why don't all these organizations work together? But no, because what I have learned is that people have underlying like intentions. I'm not in the tech community to make money or any of this. I'm not in teaching veterans to do that. Like, but other people, they're thinking about the profit, or they're thinking about running for government. I pride myself that we started first. We were meeting government officials and presidents first, but I never, I didn't advocate my position to try to run for any office and things of that nature. So like, and I absolutely, because I love what I do, and this is going to be my life's work. I'm going to be around this thing of helping veterans, like when you'll be able to blink and create a website. Like, I'm excited for the future on that.
Nice. Um, any last thoughts before we kind of close out? Any other thoughts that
that's all the questions. I'm a little sad. Like, I like asking.
Well, we're almost out of time. So.
Last thoughts. be the hero that you wish you had. I think that's my driving thing. Like I created Betsu Code and focus on creating a program the way that we created, from our education paradigms to how we make veterans learn how to work as a unit in programming and things of that nature. Because no one was around to do that for me. So I had to do it, the lessons of like hard knocks. So
Mm.
um, the thing of, the thing I tell you to do is, like, if you had hardships, don't be angry about it. Be the change, right? So, like, that's why, I'm Captain America, especially now, like, the Sam Wilson cap coming out. Like, I'm like, yes, like,
Yes.
the Tesla's blue and Captain America's black. Like, yo, it's just, it's a beautiful thing. um, what is your call to action to corporate organizational leaders during this time? Um, Throw the it always worked book out. Like, this is a new time, this is a new era. Those of you, as you're seeing with the bankruptcies and things, those who are not ready to and willing to evolve with the times, you will be getting left behind. So I hope they you know step up. It's time to grow.
Nice. Yep. 100%. Um, how can people learn more about your work and about you? Where can they
The
learn?
biggest drivers is Vetsuko on Twitter and me on Twitter at Jerome Hardaway. I'm funny most times, serious sometimes, funny most times. I've been doing bunny gates, so if you've ever been like, we left for 2 days, and some rabbit decided she was gonna give birth to two baby bunnies. So I've been checking on them every day and giving live updates of these rabbits every day. So that's been cool. But
Nice.
talking about the stories of our veterans, talking about our sponsors, talking about the people who are down for the cause of helping veterans and not helping themselves. And this selfless servant leadership work is there, highlighting our veterans, highlighting the writing our veterans do, because we force. I say force. Voluntold is the military way of saying, so we're gonna go with voluntold. I volunteer the veterans to write, because stronger, like, if you learn it, you write it, then you teach it, you'll become stronger at anything you do. So we're sharing their writing, sharing the tutorials that they write themselves, sharing the ideals of, like, with frameworks and their opinions, because I don't part of my allyship is signal boosting other veterans who are doing the work and learning how to code, because I want to make sure, if I'm like 2-3 years down the road, if I'm still the only rock star, then I failed, right? Like,
Mm.
I want to make talent. I don't want to make employees, right? So I have to make sure I did the work to make sure there's more people are talent. Like, this year I was going to start pushing them to do talks, but then, COVID. But then now we have our conference. Now everybody's doing a talk, and they're like, "Does everybody have to do a talk?" I'm like, yes, everybody has to do a talk. Like, aw. And they're like, "Will you coach?" We're like, "Yeah, I'll coach." But that's how I do. They trust me enough to push them in a manner that will make them grow. And I think that's the thing I'm most grateful for, right? Like,
Yeah.
is to earn the trust to be willing to do something uncomfortable with.
Mm. Lots of great stuff. Thank you, Jerome.
Thank you for
And I
having
think,
me.
yeah, yeah, my pleasure. I think you brought up a good point, and this has come up over the last several episodes too. That part of allyship is being an ally for each other. As a veteran, you're ally for other veterans, and you also talked about people with disabilities, and I think that is a key piece of this. Is like, we all need to be better allies for each other,
Yeah.
and the path to allyship eventually might lead to advocacy. It might lead to creating programs that really address that systemic issue.
Not only that, when people hear this type of stuff, when they hear that you're looking at yourself how to improve, not only just pointing out the fallacies, they don't have an excuse, right? It's like, I view it as like that rabbit scene on 8 Mile, when Eminem started rapping and talking about all of his flaws, right? Then he
Yeah.
told dude, "Go ahead, tell them something that they don't know about me."
Mm.
That whole idea of, like, when people feel like you're just attacking them, they don't change the resistance. When they hear, like, "No, you need to, square your shit away," But I am also looking at the places I'm failing open. I'm open about, yo, I need to level up on some stuff and I need to do better. And so they're like, well, dang, I can't really like point fingers at him because he's openly admitting his like weaknesses and where he needs to shore up his game. Like, you know, like that's what makes us better. And that's what, you know, and it forces people like, now you don't have an excuse to not grow, right? Because you know that, you know, that person is, you know, holding your feet to the fire to grow. They're also holding themselves to the exact same fire holding you. So what's your excuse? You don't have one.
Nice.
So do something.
Do something.
Yeah.
Great last words. Thanks for joining us today, everybody. Join us each week for Leading with Empathy and Allyship. You can sign up to attend live, or you can catch the podcast or the video afterwards, and you can stay in the loop and see what's coming up at changecatalyst.co/allyship series. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and our YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, Jerome. Thanks, everybody.
That's that. Thank you. You guys have a good day.
All right. Bye.